Hey, what's going on, traders? Happy Thursday. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with today's recap. And so as you guys can tell from the thumbnail, unfortunately today was a very big red day for me, right? I had my biggest red day of the year, right? So far, I had a $297 loss, and that consisted of a $273 loss on SQQQ and a $24 loss on TQQQ, right? And so as you guys can see, right, I stopped trading right around market close at 12:53 p.m. and I started trading right on market open right at 6:30, right? And so obviously, right, there were so many mistakes I made today, and I'm gonna, let you guys know exactly what those were. So hopefully you guys can learn something from it. But it's just one of those days that's very discouraging, right? Especially when, I haven't been performing the best, and then I take this, really big loss, and this may actually be one of the biggest losses I've ever taken yet. And so I do trade with a 10K account size, right? So ultimately that does mean that, I was down about 3% today. So that's a huge amount. It's definitely not a normal loss that I have, but lots of mistakes were made, and let me go ahead and explain to you guys exactly what I think went wrong today. And so, as you guys can tell from yesterday's video, I also had a very big loss, right? I was down about $134 yesterday. And what ended up happening yesterday was the NASDAQ was consistently selling off, right? As you guys can see, right? Since market open, this thing was selling off. It would pick up, sell off, right? Pick up, sell off. Then it did have this change of direction where we picked all the way back up to the middle VWAP, and I gave back all my profit. And then once it started to sell off, I kept thinking that it was going to be a big TQQQ play because the NASDAQ has been pushed up so much and it was so overbought that once it did sell off nicely, I thought we were going to experience some form of bounce, right, all the way back up to at least top VWAP. But so as this thing would push up, I was getting into TQQQ, right? And then as it changed direction, I gave back everything and I took a huge loss yesterday, right? And my big mistake yesterday was I kept trying to predict when this thing would reverse. And I kept thinking this thing was going to reverse a lot more aggressive than it did, right? So I kept trying to play TQQQ when in reality it was more of an SQQQ day. Anytime it would really, well, it would sell off and break below the EMA and form these lower lows and lower highs. But as it did break above, right? Anytime it broke above the EMA, it would really struggle to hold. Ultimately, it did pick back up to the middle VWAP, right? But as it got rejected, it would sell off, pick back up, consolidate, sell off, right? And so anytime it would, as you guys can see, right, pop above the EMA, it would end up getting rejected. And so I kept trying to predict that this thing was going to reverse, right? And obviously that didn't end up happening. So I was just looking at it completely wrong yesterday, right? I was really on the wrong side. And so heading into today, exact opposite, right? So this thing was selling off all pre-market. So by the time market opened, we had this dip and then a huge recovery. And so yesterday, since I got burned by not going with the flow and getting into SQQQ, right? I really tried to do my part in predicting, when it was a good time to go with direction. But as this thing, right, changed direction at market open, this thing ended up soaring all day, and I continued to try to get into SQQQ, right? This thing would push up, get rejected, I'd get into SQQQ, it would reverse, I'd cut losses, and it would just happen again and again and again, right? Where I would just buy in, buy out, buy in, buy out. And it was just really these small trades that really added up. And, I can tell it's a very stupid way of trading because of the fact that it's very impulsive, right? The way I've been trading this week. And so I really need to be aware of that and hold myself accountable. And so, complete opposite. As I mentioned yesterday, I was really trying to get into TQQQ aggressively, expecting some form of recovery, and it was more of an SQs day, right? So I really got burned. Today, exact opposite. It really sucks to be on the wrong side, but I kept thinking it was going to be an SQs day. It was a TQ day, right? If I just went with direction on the day, anytime it broke below the EMA, it did the exact opposite. It would actually push up. It'd break below, consolidate, push up. Break below, right? Or approach it, push up. Very clear pattern, but I was too focused on trying to predict where the top was in case this thing started to sell off, right? And so I didn't go with direction on the day, right? Direction obviously can change at market open because of the influx of buyers, and that's exactly what happened. Just because there was a relevant pattern for pre-market doesn't mean it had to hold up. And so the fact that I kept trying to predict the top rather than go with direction, right? Ultimately ended up biting me in the butt huge. And this thing ultimately did end up selling off, right? So we eventually had this nice little sell off, but what ended up happening? Well, this thing would push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up, right? So it's not a surprise that when this thing pulled back, it was still able to, form this higher low from where it did last time, and it did have, this nice little rally heading into market close. But I'm just very disappointed with myself, right? This isn't, some you know, magical reason why I was red big, right? I did it to myself. I kept over trading. I continued to trade even though I was down a big dollar amount. So many lessons, right? I didn't go with direction, right? If direction changes at market open, I gotta respect it and go with it, right? Unfortunately, I kept trying to predict where stuff was headed too much, and that's really what came to bite me in the butt, as I mentioned, right? Just because this thing was forming these higher lows and higher highs, right? Once it pulled on back, I thought this would continue and we were going to continue to push up. And that's why, I've been getting on the wrong side of things just by predicting. And so predicting can be very dangerous because once you fall in love with a specific idea or trade, it can really, backfire on you the way it has been on me this week. And so because of that, because of the fact that I was down such a big dollar amount today, that does put me down about, I believe, 3.6% on the week. So I am down about $360. And so that's definitely a huge amount. I'm more than I'm willing, to lose. So continue losing. So because of that, I have to realize that I have to I need to earn the privilege again to be able to trade real money, right? I don't want to just keep blowing my money away. And so I've decided that I'm just going to take a step back and be trading paper money again. I know I did it last time and I switched back to real money, but I'm gonna keep switching back to paper money. And if I feel I definitely don't deserve to trade real money, and I definitely did that to myself today, right? Huge loss. No one to blame but myself, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's all my fault. And so because of that, I'm gonna, try to implement good habits and, trade paper money. And so for the next month or so, I'm gonna definitely just stay away from trading real money and just be practicing on a simulation account. And I think it's definitely going to be beneficial for me in the long run. So I'm going to be keeping you guys updated on that. And if you guys are interested, I can even make a video where I let you guys know exactly how to set up an account or a paper trading account. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for today's video. As you guys know, the Nasdaq has been selling off, so I am kind of excited for that, honestly, because if this thing continues to sell off, that would mean that lots of the top tech stocks are selling off as well, and I'm gonna be able to buy them in at good prices. So that's definitely something exciting and to look forward to. But obviously market can start to recover, and I'm definitely excited for that as well, as I'm sure all of you are. But thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. If you guys are new to the channel and found any of this helpful, please drop a like and consider subscribing. It really helps us out. And if you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and drop a comment and I will be more than happy to answer it and even make a video on it. But thank you guys so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.